We're back at it with another apartment tour video. Today we're leaving downtown behind and going up to the Ballard neighborhood to tour some apartments. I wanted to explore what Ballard apartments are like and give you a look at what it's like living outside of downtown. The funny thing is though, is that I forgot to check reviews and ended up touring a place with a 3.3 out of 5 rating. So in addition to being one of my first tours outside of downtown Seattle, this is also my lowest rated building. And in this video, we'll see if this apartment truly does merit this meh rating. Before I start, I know that the Ballard neighborhood is one of the best in Seattle if you're looking for bars, restaurants, and cafes. It's a large neighborhood that stretches from the Golden Gardens Park in the north all the way down to the Ballard Locks and the Lake Washington Canal. It's a great neighborhood to live in, to bike in, and in many places it's pretty easy to walk around, and provides easy access to the rest of Seattle. The neighborhood is one of the best places to be in the city. Today, we travel to Northwest 56th Street to Urbana. The building itself looks like a 5/1, so pretty typical of apartments outside of downtown, and nothing too special. Architecturally, I do think it's a little boring, but that can't be held against the apartment itself. In a typical video, about this time I like to talk about the amenities, and this apartment does have some, although nothing that blows it out of the water. You have a gym, a rooftop lounge area, and an outdoor hangout space. Although everyone can see you in the space, so I'm not sure how often it's used. But overall, it has most of what you can expect an apartment to have. Nothing super special, but I'll give it a bonus for having a gym with all the equipment needed for a good workout. Today we'll be checking out two one-bedroom apartments. Both have about 700 to 900 square feet, so they're a little bit on the larger end, and the cost is anywhere from $2,200 per month all the way up to $2,700 per month. It really just depends on which floor you're living on, although this is again a 5/1 building, so it really doesn't change your view whether you're on the second floor or the 5th floor. So if I was to live here, I'd save a little money and just choose whichever was the cheapest option. No sense in paying a couple $500 extra a month just to be, 20 feet higher. The first room here that we're looking at is on the 2nd floor itself. It is pretty open. It has the kitchen, which leads all the way out into the living space, and you have the bedroom to the right, which we'll check out later. Overall, I like the look of the flooring. It looks like natural wood. I'm pretty sure it's not. It's probably some sort of laminate or vinyl. Still looks nice. It's warm and inviting, and the window at the end helps light up the living space, even if there isn't a lot of pre-installed lighting in the room. The kitchen has all the appliances that you would expect. Has a refrigerator that's pretty large, a stove, a microwave, a washer, everything that's pretty standard across Seattle apartments. One thing that I do like is that it has an island. This is something that a lot of apartments don't have, so it's nice to have this, and it's just an extra bit of furniture that you don't have to buy, and knowing that it is pre-installed, you don't have to move or anything. All you have to do is just supply the chairs for it, and then you're all good. If you don't need a set dinner table, this can become your dinner table, and you are 100% finished with your furniture for the kitchen. One criticism is that the splash wall for the kitchen has kind of like, it's not quite gray, it's a little bit green, but it reminds me of that millennial gray aesthetic where it's a little bit devoid of color. Usually I like something a little bit brighter, but I guess if you do like a more gray color theme, then you'll probably be a fan of this. In my case, I like light black splashes or completely dark ones. Anything that's gray, not the biggest fan of. Nothing too fancy about this kitchen. Includes everything that you'd expect. The cabinets themselves aren't super deep, but you don't need deep cabinets. I'd say it's pretty good for all the needs that you could have when cooking. It's not the biggest kitchen, but it's also not the smallest, and I'm sure has more storage than you'll need, especially given the location of this and the easy access to groceries in this neighborhood. And now that we're out of the kitchen, let's take a quick look to the living space. The living space itself is pretty rectangular. It's longer than it is wide, but then it leads out into a view of the street below. This is on the 2nd floor, so you're still pretty close to the road. When I was in here, I couldn't really hear everything, which was kind of nice to know, so you don't have to worry too much about hearing the traffic below. It's not the most extraordinary view, but it's still fine because it does at least give you the window. It's facing south, so that way when it is sunny, you will get natural light. That's definitely needed. But the window isn't too large, which is fine. Again, you're on the 2nd floor. You don't want people peeking in. This living area, it does actually have room for a dining table if you want to add that. It also has room for a couch and a TV. Essentially, it has room for everything that you'll need in a living space. It does seem a little bit tight, but if you're good at planning space and using it effectively, should be no problem. Next, we'll check out the bathroom. I'm not gonna say much about this because it looks pretty standard. There's nothing too special about it and nothing that made me go, wow. It just looks like a relatively standard bathroom, so we'll just gloss over this and get straight to the bedroom. One of the nice things about the bedroom is that you have a walk-in closet. It has a lot of space, maybe not enough if you have two people and one person wants to store a lot of stuff, but if you're a single individual or if there's two of you and you don't have a lot of things, this probably has plenty of space for everything that you need to put in here, and you won't have too much clutter everywhere else. And going into the bedroom, it's much like the living area. In fact, it looks to be just about the same size. I'm sure it's a little bit more narrow, but if you want a bedroom that's relatively large and has room for what looks like 2 queen-size beds side to side, then cool, here you go. My main complaint though is that I'd actually prefer to have more space in my living room and less space in my bedroom. But if you want a bedroom with a queen or a king-size bed and a TV, this is probably the space for you. The bedroom also has a window. It's not too large, so you don't really have to worry about people looking in. But at the same time, it isn't the largest window and it doesn't let the most natural light in. But then counter to that again, it's facing south, so you will get sun. The bedroom has carpeted floor, which is fine. I'm usually not a fan of carpets just because when it captures dirt, it really stays there. But if you don't mind that, and maybe if you like the warm feeling, this is probably perfect for you. For me, I prefer a hard surface for every room. And right at the entrance to this apartment, you have a closet space with a washer and dryer. These are full-size washers and dryers, so you don't have to wash your clothes every day or worry about it filling up after, 2 days. And going to our second apartment, this is one of the larger units. This one is around 800 to 900 square feet. This one is on the more pricey side, while the prior bedroom goes from about 2,200 to 2,700. This one starts more so at 2,400 and can go up to 2,900 per month. It has a larger washer and dryer room that does have enough space for, I think, a bike. You'd really have to maneuver it in there, but if you need to store some large items, whether it be floaties, if you want to go out into the water, skates, rollerblades, whatever, it definitely fit in here. Happy to see all the room it has, and standing in here, it's pretty tall too, so maybe you could fit a paddleboard here for those warm summer days on Lake Union. The kitchen is almost exactly the same as the other one. It's just in a U shape. It has the same appliances, similar sink, same type of oven, same refrigerator. So I won't go into too much detail. Instead of having an island, it does wrap around, so you technically do have more actual countertop space. So like the prior apartment, you don't actually need to buy a dining table. You could always just use the kitchen counter itself and just throw some stools in there. No worries about anything else. And looking into living area, there's almost like 2 separate living areas in here. You have a very square looking one, and then a second living space which goes into all these different windows and has more circular or hectagonal design. Unlike the last building, this one actually has its own little balcony with a view to a courtyard on what I believe is the 2nd floor. My main complaint though is that the view outside looks into other people's apartments, which means that all of their apartments also look into yours. So if you like your privacy, then you'll probably have your blinds closed all the time, or you could just keep your blinds open every day and just accept the fact that there'll be people staring into your apartment. Personally, this is my biggest complaint about 5/1s, is they often build these courtyards in the center, and I really don't like hanging out somewhere where everybody could stare at me, and I also don't like living in an apartment where there's 5 other floors who can all look into my place. But complaints aside, I do like the size of the living space. It's a little quirky with how it's laid out, because it's almost like you have 2 separate living rooms. Maybe one you could use as the dining room, and one can be the entertainment area. I think that would be a really fun idea. But then of course, if you're hanging out in that hectagonal area, just know there's about 5 floors of people that could look into your place. So if you're doing anything weird, maybe close your blinds unless you want to be seen. And connected to the living area is your bedroom. This one is smaller than the one in the prior space, so I actually appreciate this bedroom more. This one has enough space for what you need. It has space for a queen or a king size bed, and you can even throw in a TV in there if you really wanted to. This bedroom also has a similar sized closet attached. This closet seems to be a little bit larger, so just that little bit of extra space for what you need. The bathroom is essentially the same. Again, different layout, same appliances, and same color scheme. The sink is a little small, so if you do have a lot of like shampoo bottles or cosmetics, you might run out of space. But then if you're a guy or you like to live minimally, you probably won't run out of space. This is probably perfectly fine for you. But overall, when I think of these two apartments, I think they're all right, but for what you're paying, you don't get too much of a view, and I'm not the biggest fan of the color format of the place. It really dates it, in my mind, to the early 2000s, or maybe even the early 2010s, like 2010, 2011. That, and because it is a 501, you do feel closer to the street. Luckily you can't hear it, but if you want privacy and to feel like you're living in downtown Seattle or you're like really with the city, this isn't gonna give you that. The streets outside of this apartment aren't really anything that special. From the location of Urbana, you can easily walk to many of the great places in Ballard, but the streets itself directly outside of the apartment aren't much to look at. But overall, $2,200 a month for a place with greater than 700 square feet is relatively good for many parts of Seattle. Ballard can be a little more expensive just because it's a desirable location with all those different restaurants, and because it's a popular place, that drives up the price. For $2,200 to $2,900 a month, you can definitely find a place that has either a lot more amenities or better views, or just gives you something that looks newer and fresher. But that's just my opinion. For some people, you know, everybody living here, this place is all right with them. But looking at the reviews for the place, looks like there are numerous different complaints about the property, although none of them seem to be about anything in particular. Of course, I always take reviews with a grain of salt, because sometimes it's just one salty person who maybe had just one bad experience. Although I'm not sure, I'll let you be the judge. You can look at Google and check the reviews there, but at least on Yelp it has better reviews. But overall, from all the other apartments that I've seen, it's on the cheaper end. It does have all the basic amenities and accessories and appliances that you would expect in an apartment, but it doesn't really get you the privacy that I would personally like, or get you any cool views. The location is good because it's close to shopping, and it's close to some of the great places in Ballard. So great neighborhood, maybe not the best location within that neighborhood, and not the best views, if that makes any sense. Many of the other rooms in this building can cost even less. I heard that some cost as low as $1,600 a month for a studio. So if you're looking to save a little money, this might actually be the place for you. But let me know what you think. Usually I do apartment tour videos of places with 4 stars or greater, because I think those give you the best example. But, you know, sometimes you gotta do ones that have a lower rating. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.